Hello, welcome back. This is part 4 of the lesson, and this is also the final part of this lesson on motivation. Let's move on to the last group of theory, learning theories. In this group, you will be introduced to two theories, which are operant conditioning and social learning. So learning theories focus on increasing employee motivation and performance by linking the outcomes that employees receive to the performance of desired behaviors and the attainment of goals. So let's begin with this operant conditioning. Psychologist Skinner proposed that people are motivated or not based on their desired outcomes. People learn to perform behaviors that lead to the desired consequences and learn to not perform behaviors that lead to undesired consequences. And this means managers can tie specific outcomes to specific behaviors requested of the employee. In other words, this is a method of learning that employs rewards and punishments for behavior. Operant conditioning theory provides 4 tools that managers can use to motivate high performance and prevent workers from engaging in absenteeism and other behaviors that would reduce organizational effectiveness. And these tools are positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, extinction, and punishment. Organizational functional behaviors are behaviors that contribute to organizational effectiveness. They can include producing high-quality goods and services or providing high-quality service, customer service, or meeting deadlines. To motivate people to perform the desired behaviors, managers can either add or a stimulus, a consequence, or remove a stimulus or consequence. Adding a stimulus is to use positive reinforcement, which involves giving people outcomes they desire when they perform organizationally functional behaviors. And these desired outcomes, called positive reinforcers, include any outcomes that a person desires, such as a pay raise or a promotion. Negative reinforcement can also encourage members of an organization to perform desired or functional behaviors. Managers using negative reinforcement actually eliminate or remove undesired outcomes once the functional behavior is performed. And these outcomes, often called negative reinforcers, can range from criticism to unpleasant assignments or threat of losing one's job. And when negative reinforcement is used, people are motivated to perform behaviors because they want to stop receiving or want to avoid undesired outcomes. On the other hand, to discourage dysfunctional behaviors which reduce organizational effectiveness, one way for managers to do is to eliminate whatever is reinforcing the behaviors, and this process is called extinction. However, sometimes managers cannot rely on extinction to eliminate dysfunctional behaviors because they do not have control over what is actually reinforcing the behavior, or they cannot afford the time needed to do this. So when employees are performing dangerous behaviors or behaviors that are illegal, the behaviors need to be eliminated immediately. And in these cases, managers often rely on punishment, which is administering undesired or negative consequence to subordinates when they perform the dysfunctional behavior. And this might include scolding, pay cuts, or demotions or firings. Punishment, however, can have some unintended side effects, such as resentment or retaliation, so they should only be used when necessary. To avoid the unintended side effects of punishment, managers should keep in mind these guidelines. That is, to downplay the emotional element involved in punishment and try to punish dysfunctional behaviors as soon as possible, and then try to avoid punishing someone in front of others. The second learning theory is social learning theory. It proposes that motivation results not only from direct experience of rewards or punishments, but also from a person's thoughts and beliefs. Social learning theory extends operant conditioning's contribution to managers' understanding of motivation by first explain how people can be motivated by observing others performing a behavior and then being reinforced for doing so. This is what we call vicarious learning. And then second, how people can be motivated to control their behaviors themselves. And then thirdly, how people believe about their ability to successfully perform a behavior affect motivation. And this is what we call self-efficacy. We look briefly at each of these motivators. So vicarious learning, often called observational learning, occurs when a person becomes motivated to perform a behavior by watching another person performing the behavior and being positively reinforced for doing so. When members of an organization control their own behavior through self-reinforcement, managers do not need to spend as much time as they would normally do because subordinates are controlling and motivating themselves. And then self-efficacy influences motivation both when managers provide reinforcement and when workers themselves provide it. The greater the self-efficacy, the greater the motivation and performance. So in this slide, we actually see a model that integrates much of what we know about motivation. Its basic foundation is the expectancy theory. At the center of the diagram, this is the expectancy theory, which predicts that an employee will exert a high level of effort if he or she perceives a strong relationship between effort and performance and rewards and satisfaction of goals. Each of these relationships is influenced by certain factors. You can see from the model that the level of individual performance is determined not only by the level of individual effort, but also by the individual's ability to perform and by whether the organization has a fair, objective performance evaluation system. The performance-reward relationship will be strong if the individual perceives that it is performance rather than seniority or personal favorite or some other criterion that is rewarded. The final link in the expectancy theory is the rewards-goal relationship. The traditional need theories come into play at this point. Motivation would be high to the degree that the rewards an individual received for his or her high performance satisfied the dominant needs consistent with his or her individual goals. A closer look at the model also shows that it considers the achievement need, reinforcement, and equity. Pay can motivate people to perform behaviors that help an organization achieve its goal, and it can motivate people to join within an organization. Each of the theories described in this chapter refers to the importance of pay and suggests that pay should not be based on performance. And in here, we can actually see some examples of the theories that mention pay as a motivator. We have the expectancy theory, the need theory, the equity theory, the goal-setting theory, and learning theory. Merit-based pay can enhance motivation. As these theories suggest, to promote high motivation, managers should base the distribution of pay to organizational members on performance levels so that high performers receive more pay than low performers. And this is often referred to as a merit pay plan. We know that pay is important, but when it comes to motivation, one common question for managers is whether to offer pay raise or bonus on top of regular salaries. Although the amount of a salary increase or of a bonus might be identical, bonuses tend to have a more motivational impact for some reasons. First, salary levels are typically based on performance levels, increases in cost of living, and some other factors, which means the absolute level of salary is based on factors unrelated to current performance. And also because organizations rarely reduce salaries, so the levels of salary tend to vary less than performance levels do. On the other hand, if we talk about bonuses, that gives managers more flexibility in distributing outcomes. If an organization is doing well, bonuses can be high, or if they're not doing well, then bonuses can be low. So they can actually adjust bonuses based on the company's performance. In addition to receiving pay raises and bonuses, high-level managers and executives are also sometimes granted employee stock options. Employee stock options are financial instruments that entitle the bearer to buy shares of an organization's stock at a certain price during a certain period or under certain conditions. And from a motivation standpoint, stock options are used not so much to reward past performance, but rather it is to motivate employees to work for the future. And this is because stock options issued at current stock prices, but they have value in the future only if an organization does well and its stock price will increase. Therefore, it will give employees stock options. Giving employees stock options would encourage them to help the organization improve its performance over time. Having said that, stock options may also lead to unethical behavior, because sometimes individuals seek to inflate the value of stock of the company to increase the value of stock options. Managers can choose among several merit pay plans depending on the work that employees perform and other considerations. So we'll be talking about some examples of merit pay plans. The first one is what we call piece rate pay. Using this, an individual-based merit plan, managers base employees' pay on the number of units each employee produces. And it could be any products like televisions or computer components. Using commission pay, managers base pay on a percentage of sales. And a typical example of this would be paid to real estate agents who will receive a percentage of their sales. Scaling plan focuses on reducing expenses or cutting costs. Members of an organization are motivated to propose and implement cost-cutting strategies because the percentage of the cost savings achieved is distributed to the employees. And then profit sharing is a kind of plan where employees receive a share of an organization's profits. Regardless of the specific kind of plan that is used, managers would always strive to link pay to the performance of behaviors that would help an organization achieve its goals. So that's all we have for today's lesson. Thank you for listening.